flowing from the survival scrolls. I am your gracious host, Mr. Bobby Shades. And this is Bridging Fierce. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Kevin Samuels' Freedom of Speech. Let's go. So, family, the passing of the late, great Kevin Samuels. And I say great because he wasn't afraid to speak his piece. He wasn't afraid to speak what was in his mind. He wasn't afraid to speak what, in some kind of moments, were true. But there are those that are rejoicing his death. They're like, look what you get, karma, this, that. I saw some young man on YouTube talking about, he sold his soul. I didn't understand what he was talking about. And it got over a couple thousand hits. I was like, really? Okay, you sold his soul to what? Anyway, let's go back in time. Let's go back in time. He was speaking about high value men. He was speaking about dusty men. He was speaking about high value women. He was speaking about dusty women. And mind you, that term was coined by Tariq Nasheed. For those of you who are part of the political spectrum, he's a pro-black activist. Very proud of his heritage, very proud of who he is as a man, and that of a black man. So he was one of the first individuals to coin the term dusty. And he too spoke his truth, still does. From time to time he will go into that arena, talking about young men getting their weight up. And when that terminology is used, get your weight up, that means, do right for yourself. Raise yourself up from where you were to where you want to be, successful in society without doing anything illegal. And then from that cascaded other individuals. Well, somewhere in the midst of that, you had Mystery. Mystery is a gentleman who was part of the whole movement of men getting girls, and he would do magic tricks and how to speak to them and conversations and this and that and the third, and should have went. And then you have RSM or RMS and guys like that. And then then came Alpha Male Strategies, FitX Fearless, MJ Get Right, Steph is Cole, Captain EO, House of Alpharonomy, the Dr. BOA, individuals that talk about relationships and the pitfalls of them and what to look out for. Some of the last individuals that I just mentioned are more geared towards the black community, but there are whites. There was also a gentleman, Tommy something, a radio host in his late 60s, maybe 70s at this point, who has spoken, let me bring this back, guys, who has spoken earnestly about being married 4 times and about him just, enjoying his life, not wanting to really settle down anymore. He just dates. Sometimes he's not even ashamed to say it. Sometimes I'll just pay for sex. I have the money, I'm worth millions, and that's what I do. You have Myron, and I forget the name of the other gentleman on their channel, and you have all these individuals that talk about dating. But what made Kevin Samuels unique, for those of you who do not know who he is, was that he had women, primarily women, call in, and celebrities too, call in, and sometimes really have a verbal sparring match with them. He was a Piscean, and I have yet to come across a Piscean that is not very honestly brutal. Honestly brutal. Now, many a black women will say that his delivery was harsh. I remember he told one young lady, you're average at best. That became a trending terminology. You're average at best. It's like, wow, this is hardcore. You're telling someone you're average at best. Even so far as to, be like, get the F off of my channel, cursing people out and what have you. But we have this thing in the United States called freedom of speech. And I truly believe that he had exercised his freedom of speech. His delivery was less than stellar. You'll hear many of women will be like, oh, the way he spoke down to women and, and all of this stuff and whatever, and, but he never said anything about the men. But I remember having a discussion at work, and I remember saying to an individual, yes, she was talking about all this, Kevin Samuels and this and how he speaks. And I said, okay, I hear what you're saying, but where in any of your talking points are you mentioning the accountability of women? She said, well, no, I'm not saying no, but you didn't say anything. You didn't say no, but you didn't say yay either. And that was his point. Of course there will be those that will attack and be like, oh, he was renting an apartment, he was no high value man, and he picked an IG model that he slept with, anything to attack him. My position is let the man rest in peace. He was definitely an individual that was not afraid. And he spoke, again, there were some truths. What he spoke were not talking points that we have not heard at all. There are men that will not. I remember a woman who said, I will never date a man with a child, ever. I said, but what if you have a child and then you're not with the father? And she's like, well, let me go this way. I don't know why I want to go this way, but I want to go this way. I don't like that traffic up there. I said, well, that's not fair. She says, well, life isn't fair. But I will never date a man with a child. A radio host, recently when I say recently, it's about a year or two ago, he was accused of inappropriateness with women, and he fought it. Tavis Smiley, I believe it is. I believe Tavis Smiley. And it was, I believe it wasn't true. Okay, good. And it wasn't true. But I remember him saying years ago on his talk show, when he was on Kiss FM or WBLS, I believe it was WBLS, and he made reference of saying, never date a woman that the child is less than 5 years old. Never forgot that. I was like, why, because there's unfinished business on the end of the father. He may not be over the fact that if she broke up with him, that the breakup has taken place. He may not be real supportive of that. Now you have to deal with the father. I was like, interesting concept. Interesting way of viewing it. But he was a hardcore proponent of that. And Kevin Samuels said that. He made reference of, never date a woman with a child. For what? That's headaches, and you taking on another man's child, and if you're a high value man, all these various things. Anyway, my point of this whole topic, because I kind of really went off topic, but I'm trying to bring it back, did he have the right to exercise his freedom of speech? We have a Tucker Carlson. We have an individual that speaks all the time the most preposterous crap that comes out of his mouth. So many different things, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's almost laughable. But he's got his freedom of speech. Don't get me wrong. But see, here's where freedom of speech works for him. And of course, I'm sure that there are many of you who are going to be like, well, of course, because he's white. So he can say whatever, and he's got writers behind him, and whatever the case may be. Maybe it's true. But was it wrong that Kevin Samuels exercised his freedom of speech? That he told individuals what needed to be told? Now, there are those who'll be like, you know what, I really didn't agree with what the dude said or whatever, but his delivery. But, not for nothing. There are many people that walk this earth that are knuckleheads. You got to beat them in the head with the truth or with whatever fact that one is providing. You got to really stomp them in the head to be like, can you get it? It's kind of like, and this is kind of sad to say, and I'm not condoning it. I used to work in an emergency room for a number of years. And you had women that came in that were abused. And let me bring this back. And they were abused. I have to be honest with you. A great many of those women responded to the physicality and the violence that took place in their relationship. They didn't hear, see, believe, think otherwise. You had to really like knock them in the head to tell them the truth of whatever the case may be. I've heard women say, I understand more when he gets in my face and he's yelling at me, or whatever the case may be. So were they hard truths that Kevin was espousing, spitting out? Truth depending on how you view it. Okay, I'm not saying that everything he said was correct. I can't say that. I can't subscribe to everything, but it was his reality, his truth. Was his delivery wrong, family? Was what he said wrong? Was how he delivered it wrong? Did there need to be a Kevin Samuels? I'll always say this, getting off tangent for a quick second. We needed a Trump. We needed to show the world the disgust and the grime that takes place in these United States. We needed him. Because what has always been said, 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 proved itself to be true. And I'm not saying that it's not an attack on Trump. This is not the topic. But those that followed his diatribe, those that follow his rhetoric, really showed themselves disgustingly. Like, what's the Texas senator? Ted Cruz? I'm sorry, I think Ted Cruz, when Ted Cruz hopped on a plane and his country is going through a winter storm, but, he didn't think about it, and, I mean, come on, dude. Come on. Like really, like, that's how you getting down with your peoples? That's how you look out for your constituents? That's how you're there? At least Zelensky, the president of the Ukraine, he stays there. He's fighting with his people. Oh my God. The two boxers, the brothers that were forever boxing champions. I can't remember their name. The tall guys, real tall guys. They went to take up arms for their country. But this guy hopped on a plane. I really didn't think about it. And, in hindsight, come on, man. You're a piece of shit. That's it. Anyway, family, not one of my better videos, because I kind of went off tangent. I don't like to do that. I like to keep I like to weave things together, but hopefully you got a little nugget of this, and it was something for you to think about. Today's topic: did Kevin Samuels' freedom of speech, was he right with the use of it? Anyway, family, let's give thanks and praise that we are 6 feet above ground, and that those in our inner circle are in the same vein. Whatever you do today, family, walk tall, walk proud. If silence is your talking point, then do it with gusto and do it with reverence. And whatever you do, stay lovely, stay sexy, but most of all, family, most of all, stay safe. This is Bridging Fears. I am your gracious host, Mr. Bobby Shades. I'll see you guys in the next clip.